Lisa Morgan walked back through Tartarus Base exactly 1 hour later. The hallway felt colder now, maybe because she knew what was about to happen. She was releasing 50 of the most dangerous people alive. Not releasing, she reminded herself. Recruiting. There was still a difference, even if it felt small. Jake Rivers was standing when she opened his cell door. He had been waiting. "I accept," he said before she could speak. Lisa nodded. She had expected that answer. "Follow me." They walked together through the base. At each cell, Lisa stopped and opened the door. Each prisoner she had visited before was standing, ready. Each one said yes. By the time they reached the assembly hall, Lisa had a group of 50 people following her. The assembly hall was large and empty. White walls, bright lights, and nothing else. The prisoners filed in and stood in loose groups. They did not form lines like regular soldiers. They did not stand at attention. They just waited. Lisa stood on a small platform and looked at them. 50 faces, some young, some old, some scarred, some not. But all of them had the same look in their eyes, empty, hungry, waiting. "My name is Captain Lisa Morgan," she said. "I am your handler for this mission. You are not soldiers anymore. You are not prisoners. You are volunteers for a combat operation in deep space." A woman near the front laughed. She had red hair and burn scars on her neck. Lisa checked her tablet. "Nicole Grant." "Volunteers," Nicole said. "Is that what we are calling it?" "You all said yes," Lisa replied. "That makes you volunteers." "We said yes because the only other option is dying in a cell," another voice said. A young man with dark skin and bright eyes. Danny Cruz. "Do not pretend this is a choice." Lisa did not argue. "You are right. This is not really a choice. But it is the only one you have. So listen carefully. The Galactic Coalition is being destroyed by an enemy called the Void Swarm. They are a hive mind species that consumes everything. The Coalition's military has failed. They asked Earth for help. Specifically, they asked for soldiers who do not follow normal rules of war. "They asked for us," Jake said from the back. "They asked for humans," Lisa corrected. "General Kane decided to send you, all of you." A tall man with cold eyes raised his hand. Greg White, the sniper. "Why us? Earth has plenty of regular soldiers. Special forces, Marines. Why send prisoners?" Lisa took a breath. "Because the Coalition needs fighters who will do whatever it takes to win. Fighters who do not stop. Fighters who scare even other humans. You are not here because you are good people. You are here because you are dangerous." Silence filled the room. The prisoners looked at each other. Some smiled. Some did not react at all. "What do we get if we survive?" Nicole asked. "Full pardon," Lisa said. "All crimes forgiven. New identity if you want one. Money. A place to live. Freedom." "And if we die?" Danny asked. "You die fighting instead of rotting in a cell. For some of you, that might be enough." Jake stepped forward. He looked at Lisa with those two calm eyes. "You said the Coalition asked for soldiers who do not follow rules. Did they understand what that means? Did you tell them what we are?" Lisa met his gaze. "I told them you would do terrible things to win. They said that is what they need." Jake smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Then let us give them what they asked for." The next 3 days were preparation. The prisoners were given equipment, black armor that was strong but light, weapons that were designed for one thing only, killing efficiently, medical supplies, communication devices, everything they needed for war. Lisa watched them during training exercises. They moved differently than regular soldiers. There was no coordination, no formation. Each person fought alone, but somehow they still worked together. Like wolves in a pack, separate but connected by the same hunger. Amy Parker was the medic. She was small with blonde hair pulled back tight. She looked kind until you saw her eyes, cold and calculating. She walked through the training area, watching the others practice. "They are going to get hurt," Amy said to Lisa. "When the fighting starts, I will fix them, but I need to know something first." "What?" Lisa asked. "Are there limits? Can I use any method to keep them alive?" Lisa looked at Amy's file on her tablet. It said Amy had been locked up for experimenting on captured enemies during the colony wars, testing new medical techniques without permission or ethics. She had saved many lives. She had also caused a lot of pain. "No limits," Lisa said quietly. "Keep them alive, whatever it takes." Amy smiled. "Good." Across the training area, Danny Cruz was setting up explosives. He worked fast, his hands moving with practiced skill. Another prisoner, a woman named Claire Ross, watched him. "You really love that, do not you?" Claire asked. She was a former pilot who had bombed civilian targets because command said they might be military. Danny placed another charge carefully. "Explosions are honest," he said. "They do exactly what they are supposed to do. No lies, no politics. Just pure force turning everything to nothing." "That is a disturbing way to think," Claire said. Danny looked up at her. "That is why we are all here. We think in disturbing ways." On the shooting range, Greg White was testing rifles. He fired once. The target 1,000 meters away developed a hole exactly in the center. He fired again. Same result. Again. 15 shots, 15 perfect hits. Jake approached him. "You never miss?" "No," Greg said. He loaded another magazine. "Missing means failing. I do not fail." "What about feeling?" Jake asked. "Do you feel anything when you kill?" Greg fired another shot. Perfect hit. "No, should I?" Jake was quiet for a moment. "Most people do." "I am not most people," Greg said. "Neither are you." That night, Lisa gathered all 50 prisoners in the assembly hall again. She pulled up a hologram showing the void swarm. The images were worse than before. Entire planets covered in black creatures. Cities consumed in hours. Millions dying. "This is what you are fighting," Lisa said. "The swarm has no fear. It does not negotiate. It does not stop. Every military force in the galaxy has tried to stop it and failed." Nicole spoke up. "If everyone else failed, what makes them think we can win?" "They do not think you can win," Lisa said honestly. "They think you can hurt it, slow it down, buy them time. You are not a solution, you are a weapon, a desperate one." Jake laughed. It was a bitter sound. "Of course we are. That is all we have ever been." Lisa turned off the hologram. "Tomorrow you ship out. 6 dropships will take you to the first combat zone, a planet called Krath 7. The swarm is attacking a refugee colony there. 50,000 aliens are trapped. You need to hold the line until evacuation is complete." "What kind of support do we get?" Danny asked. "None. The coalition does not trust you. They will not fight alongside you. You are on your own." "Even better," Nicole said. She was smiling now. "No one to get in our way." The next morning came too quickly. Lisa stood in the hangar bay, watching the prisoners board the dropships. They moved with purpose now. No longer lost. They had a mission. They had a fight. Jake was the last to board. He stopped and looked at Lisa. "Thank you," he said. Lisa was surprised. "For what?" "For letting us out of our cages, even if it is just to use us as weapons. At least we get to do what we are good at one more time." "You are welcome," Lisa said. She meant it. Jake climbed into the dropship. The door closed. The engines started. Lisa watched all 6 ships lift off and disappear into the black of space. She stood alone in the empty hangar. She had just released 50 monsters into the galaxy. People who did not follow rules, who did not stop, who scared even other humans. Part of her felt guilty. These were not soldiers. They were broken people who had become too good at killing. Using them like this felt wrong. But another part of her knew the truth. The swarm was coming. Worlds were dying. Sometimes you needed monsters to fight monsters. Sometimes the only way to survive was to become something scary. Lisa walked back to her quarters. She had work to do, reports to file, tracking data to monitor. She needed to know where the prisoners were at all times, what they were doing, whether they were winning or losing. But deep down, she already knew the answer. They would win, because winning was all they knew how to do. The question was not whether they would stop the swarm. The question was whether anyone could stop them once they started. In the lead dropship, Jake sat with his eyes closed. Around him, the other prisoners were quiet. Some checked weapons. Some slept. Some stared at nothing. Nicole sat next to Jake. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "About what comes next," Jake said. "About fighting again. About whether we can still do this." "Do you think we forgot how?" Jake opened his eyes. "No, I think we never stopped. We have just been waiting. And now they gave us permission to be what we really are." "And what is that?" Nicole asked. Jake looked at her. His eyes were not calm anymore. They were sharp, hungry, alive. "Killers," he said simply. "The galaxy asked for soldiers, but they are getting us instead. I almost feel sorry for them." Nicole smiled. "Almost. Almost," Jake agreed. The dropships flew through space toward Krath 7, toward war, toward the swarm, toward a battle that would show the galaxy what human fighters really meant. Behind them, Tartarus Base was empty again. The cells were open, the lights were off, the monsters were gone. The planet Krath 7 looked peaceful from orbit. Green forests, blue oceans, white clouds. But as the dropships descended, Jake could see the truth. Black patches spreading across the continents, the void swarm consuming everything in its path. The ships landed hard in the middle of a refugee camp. Alien civilians ran in panic. They were not running from the swarm. They were running from the humans. Jake stepped out of the dropship. The air smelled like smoke and fear. Around him, the other 49 prisoners spread out. They moved like predators, weapons ready, eyes scanning for threats. An alien in military armor approached. He was tall, with gray skin and 6 eyes. General Thex, according to the translation device in Jake's ear. "You are the humans?" Thex asked. He sounded disappointed. "We are," Jake said. Thex looked at the group, at their scars, their cold expressions, their weapons held with too much comfort. "You look like criminals." "That is because we are," Nicole said. She was standing next to Jake, checking her rifle. Thex's 6 eyes widened. "Command sent us criminals? This is an insult." "Command sent you what you asked for," Jake said. "Fighters who do not follow your rules. Fighters who scare even other humans. That is what you wanted, right?" Before Thex could answer, an alarm sounded across the camp. A voice shouted in an alien language. The translation device made it clear. "The swarm is attacking." Jake looked toward the eastern perimeter. The sky was turning black. Not with clouds, with creatures. Thousands of them, millions. They moved as one, flowing across the ground like a dark wave. "Positions," Thex shouted to his troops. Alien soldiers ran to defensive walls. They set up weapons and shields. They followed procedure. Everything by the book. Jake watched them and shook his head. "That is not going to work." "What?" Thex said. "You are fighting defensively, setting up walls and waiting. The swarm does not care about walls. It will go over them, through them, under them. You need to attack." "Attack?" Thex looked shocked. "We are outnumbered 100 to 1. Attacking would be suicide." Jake smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "Good thing we are already dead then." He turned to the other humans. They were all watching him, waiting. Jake pointed toward the swarm. "Go kill them," he said simply. It was not a command, not an order. It was permission, permission to be what they really were. Permission to stop holding back. Permission to do what they did best. The humans moved as one. Not in formation, not following any plan. They just ran straight toward the swarm. Thex watched in horror. "They are insane. They will all die." "Maybe," Lisa's voice said through Jake's communicator. She was monitoring from orbit. But they will take a lot of the swarm with them. The first human to reach the swarm was a man named Kyle. He was big, strong, and loved close combat. He did not use his rifle. He used a blade, a huge piece of sharpened metal that no normal human could lift. Kyle hit the swarm like a bomb. He cut through creatures, spinning, slashing, not stopping. Black blood sprayed everywhere. Swarm creatures piled on him. He threw them off. More came. He kept fighting. Danny Cruz came next. He threw devices into the mass of creatures. 3 seconds later, explosions ripped through the swarm. Fire and force turned hundreds of creatures into nothing. Danny was laughing. The sound came through everyone's communicators. "That is what I am talking about," Danny shouted. He threw more explosives. Greg White found a high position on a broken building. He set up his rifle and started shooting. One shot, one dead swarm creature. Another shot, another kill. He did not miss. He never missed. His face showed no emotion. He was a machine, but made of flesh. Amy Parker set up a field hospital behind the main fight. But she was not just healing. She had captured a swarm creature somehow. It was tied down, still alive. She was cutting it open, studying it while it was still moving. "Fascinating," Amy said into her communicator. "They have a nerve cluster here. If you hit it, they die instantly, sending location data to everyone's visors now." Information appeared on Jake's visor. A weak point. He filed the information away and kept moving forward. Nicole was ahead of him, fighting with cold precision. She did not waste movement. Every shot killed. Every step was planned. She was not fighting angry like Kyle. She was fighting smart, like a chess player who only knew how to win. Jake reached the swarm and let himself go. That was the only way to describe it. He stopped thinking, stopped planning. He just let his body do what it knew how to do. His rifle fired until it was empty. He dropped it and pulled out his sidearm. Fired until it was empty. Dropped it and pulled out his knife. Stabbed and cut until creatures stopped coming at him. Then he picked up his rifle, reloaded, and started again. Time stopped meaning anything. There was only the fight, the movement, the violence. It felt right, natural, like breathing. Behind the human line, Thex watched in silence. His 6 eyes could not believe what they were seeing. 50 humans were fighting millions of swarm creatures, and they were winning. No, not winning. They were destroying. They were not trying to survive. They were trying to kill as many as possible before they died. But they were not dying. They were too fast, too angry, too skilled. "What are they?" asked Commander Yila. She was standing next to Thex. She was smaller, with blue skin and large eyes. "I do not know," Thex said quietly. "But I am starting to understand why Earth locked them away." The battle continued for hours. The swarm kept coming. The humans kept killing. Slowly, the black wave started to pull back, not retreating. The swarm did not retreat, but it was avoiding the humans. Going around them, Jake noticed it first. "They are scared," he said into his communicator. "What?" Lisa's voice came back. "The swarm. It is scared of us. Look at the pattern. It is avoiding our position and attacking other areas." He was right. The swarm was flowing around the humans like water around a rock. It was still attacking the alien defensive positions, but it stayed away from where the humans were fighting. "Is that possible?" Thex asked. He had been listening to the communication. "The swarm does not feel fear. It is a hive mind. It only knows hunger and consumption." "Then it just learned something new," Nicole said. She was covered in black blood. "It learned that some prey fights back hard enough to not be worth eating." Danny set off another explosion. More swarm creatures died. "I love this job," he shouted. The battle lasted until nightfall. When the swarm finally pulled back, the ground was covered in bodies. Black corpses everywhere. The alien defensive walls were damaged but holding, and all 50 humans were still alive. Jake walked back toward the refugee camp. He was tired. His armor was damaged. His weapons were almost out of ammunition. But he was smiling, really smiling, for the first time in years. The other humans gathered around him. They were all in the same condition, tired, bloody, but alive. And they looked happy. Not pleased, not satisfied. Happy. Like they had found something they had lost. Thex and Yila approached carefully. They kept their distance. Their weapons were lowered but ready. "You won," Thex said. He sounded confused. "We survived," Jake corrected. "Winning comes later." "I have never seen anything like that," Yila said. Her voice was quiet. "The way you fought. No fear. No hesitation. Just pure violence." "That is what you asked for," Nicole said. She was cleaning her rifle. "Earth sent you fighters who do not follow rules, who do not stop. Did you think that would look pretty?" Thex and Yila said nothing. Around the camp, other alien soldiers were watching the humans, watching with fear in their eyes. A young alien, maybe a soldier or maybe a civilian, Jake could not tell, approached. He looked at Jake with large, frightened eyes. "Are all humans like you?" the young alien asked. Jake thought about it. "No," he said finally. "Most humans are good, kind. They build things and care about each other. They have rules and morals and hope. We are not like them." "Then what are you?" "We are what happens when good humans go bad, when soldiers fight too long and forget how to stop, when the violence becomes all you know. Your people asked for soldiers, but Earth sent you something else. They sent you the monsters they created by accident, the fighters they fear most." The young alien backed away quickly. He ran to the other side of the camp. Yila watched him go. "You are scaring them." "Good," Nicole said. "Scared allies are alive allies. They will be more careful, more cautious, more likely to survive." Amy came out of her field hospital. Her medical coat was covered in blood, both red and black, human and swarm. "I need to talk to you all," Amy said. Her voice was excited. "I have been studying the swarm creatures. Their biology is fascinating. They have a shared nervous system. If we can find the central node, we might be able to shut down entire groups at once." "You sound too happy about this," Jake said. "I am happy," Amy said honestly. "Do you know how long it has been since I could do real research? They locked me away because I crossed ethical lines, but there are no ethics in war, only survival. This is where I belong." The other humans nodded. They understood. This was where they all belonged. In the fight, in the violence, in the war. Not because they were good at it, because it was all they knew. That night, the humans slept in their own section of the camp. The aliens gave them space. No one wanted to be too close to them. Jake sat on a supply crate looking at the stars. Nicole sat next to him. "You were right," she said. "About what?" "About this being better than dying in a cell. I felt alive today, really alive." News traveled fast across the galaxy. Within days, every world in the coalition knew about the human fighters. The stories varied, but the message was always the same. Earth had sent something terrifying. On Earth, General Victor Kane sat in his command center reading reports. Each one told the same story. Victory. The humans were winning every battle, but the cost was clear in the details. A report from Krath 7. Human fighters eliminated swarm presence in 72 hours. Civilian casualties reduced by 90%. However, local commander reports human combat methods violate 14 separate articles of the Galactic War Codes, requesting guidance. Another report from a mining colony called Verdun 9. Human team of 8 held position against swarm forces for 36 hours. All 8 survived. Swarm completely destroyed. Warning: human fighters used captured swarm creatures as weapons. Local authorities disturbed by tactics. More reports. More victories. More complaints. Kane read them all carefully. He had known this would happen. The humans were winning, but they were winning in ways that made everyone uncomfortable. His communicator chimed. Helen Brooks appeared on the screen. She looked tired. "We need to talk," Helen said. "I am reading the reports," Kane said. "I know what you are going to say. Do you?" Because the council is meeting in 2 hours and they want answers. They want to know why our fighters are acting like animals, why they do not follow any rules, why they scare people more than the swarm. Kane leaned back in his chair. What did they expect, Helen? They asked for fighters who do not follow rules. We gave them exactly that. They did not expect this. None of us did. Have you read the report from Commander Yila? She said watching the humans fight gave her nightmares. She said they fight like they enjoy it. Some of them probably do, Kane said quietly. That is why we locked them up. But they are winning. That has to count for something. It counts for everything and nothing, Helen said. Yes, they are winning. Yes, they are saving lives. But they are also creating a new problem. The galaxy is starting to fear us, Victor. Not just our fighters, all of us. They are wondering what kind of species creates monsters like this. Kane had no answer for that. He had known the risk. He had made the decision anyway. Because sometimes the only way to fight monsters was to send monsters. What does the council want? Kane asked. They want the fighters recalled, sent back to Earth, locked up again. In the middle of the war? They think they can handle the swarm without us now. They are wrong, but they are scared. Fear makes people stupid. Kane thought for a long moment. Tell the council no. The fighters stay until the swarm is defeated. That was the deal. We keep our end, they keep theirs. Helen sighed. I will tell them. But this is not going away, Victor. You have unleashed something we might not be able to control. The screen went dark. Kane sat alone in his command center. He pulled up a map showing where all 50 fighters were deployed. They were spread across 8 different worlds now. Small teams, 2 here, 5 there, 8 somewhere else. All of them winning. On Krath 7, Jake was preparing for another mission. The swarm had been pushed back but not defeated. New targets appeared every day. His team was being sent to a civilian shelter under attack. Nicole was checking her equipment. Danny was humming while organizing explosives. Greg was silently cleaning his rifle for the 3rd time. Amy was reviewing medical supplies and biological samples she had collected. New orders, Jake said. He pulled up a hologram. Shelter complex 10 kilometers east. 5,000 civilians trapped. Swarm forces estimated at 10,000 creatures. We go in, clear the area, and get them out. Just the 5 of us? Danny asked. He sounded excited rather than worried. Just us, Jake confirmed. The coalition sent a full battalion yesterday. They failed. So they called us. Of course they did, Nicole said. When normal soldiers fail, they send the monsters. They took 1 transport ship. The shelter complex was underground, built into a mountain. The entrance was blocked by swarm creatures. Thousands of them crawling over each other to get inside. The transport landed hard. The 5 humans jumped out and started fighting immediately. No planning, no strategy session. They just knew what to do. Greg found a position on a ridge and started shooting. Each shot killed a swarm creature. He did not aim. His body just knew where to point the rifle. Kill after kill after kill. Danny threw devices into the mass of creatures. Explosions ripped through them. He was laughing again. That disturbing sound that made Nicole shake her head. You really need help, Nicole said while shooting. I know, Danny shouted back. Is it not great? Amy stayed near the transport. She set up a portable medical station, but she also had a rifle. When swarm creatures got close, she shot them with the same calm precision she used for surgery. Then she went back to preparing medical supplies. Jake and Nicole pushed toward the entrance. They moved together without speaking. Years of experience made them work like parts of the same machine. Jake would shoot high. Nicole would shoot low. Jake would move left. Nicole would cover right. They reached the entrance. The door was sealed but damaged. Jake planted a small charge. It blew the lock. The door opened. Inside was chaos. Civilians huddled together. They were different species. Different sizes and shapes. All of them were terrified. Swarm creatures were trying to break through a barricade deeper in the complex. Get them out, Jake shouted. Nicole started moving civilians toward the entrance. They were scared of her. She was covered in blood and carrying weapons, but they were more scared of the swarm. They followed her. Jake went deeper into the complex. He could hear the swarm breaking through. He reached the barricade just as it fell. Creatures poured through. Jake started shooting. Then his rifle was empty. He dropped it and used his sidearm. Then that was empty. He pulled out his knife. A swarm creature jumped at him. Jake caught it and slammed it against the wall. He stabbed it. Another came. He kicked it away. More came. Too many. His communicator activated. "Jake, get out of there!" It was Nicole's voice. "Not yet," Jake said. He kept fighting. More creatures came. He was bleeding now. Multiple cuts. But he did not stop. "Jake," Nicole's voice was different now. Worried. Scared even. That surprised him. Nicole did not get scared. He looked back toward the entrance. The last civilians were getting out. They were safe. "Now I come," Jake said. He ran. The swarm followed. He made it to the entrance and dove outside. Danny was waiting. He triggered explosives that collapsed the entrance. The swarm was trapped inside. Amy grabbed Jake and started working on his wounds. "You are an idiot," she said while cleaning cuts. "I know," Jake said. He was breathing hard. "But they are safe. You almost died." "Almost," Jake agreed. "But not quite." Nicole sat next to him. She did not say anything. She did not need to. Her face said it all. Relief, anger, something else Jake could not identify. The civilians boarded the transport. They looked at the 5 humans with mixed expressions. Gratitude mixed with fear. They were alive because of these fighters. But these fighters were not heroes. They were something else. Something scary. On another world called Talax 4, a different team of humans was having problems. Danny Cruz had been sent there with 6 others. The mission was simple: protect a supply depot. But Danny was getting bored. "There is no action here," Danny complained. "Just sitting and waiting. I hate waiting." A woman named Beth, who had been sent with him, was watching him carefully. "Do not do anything stupid, Danny. We have orders. Just guard the depot." "But there are swarm nests 10 kilometers away," Danny said. "We could attack them. Destroy them before they attack us." "That is not our mission." "I know, but it would be fun," Beth sighed. She knew Danny was losing control. He needed the fight. Needed the explosions. Without them, he became dangerous in a different way. Unstable. She contacted Lisa Morgan in orbit. "We have a problem. Danny is getting antsy. I think he might do something stupid." Lisa's voice came back. "Define stupid. Attack a swarm nest without permission, stupid." There was silence. Then Lisa spoke carefully. "Keep him busy. Give him something to blow up, even if it is just rocks. He needs the outlet." Beth cut the communication and looked at Danny. "Fine, we can run a patrol. Scout the area. Maybe blow up some swarm scouts if we find them." Danny's face lit up. "Really? Really? But you follow my lead. No going crazy." They took a small team and moved out. Within an hour, they found a small group of swarm creatures. Danny threw explosives with practiced precision. Creatures died. He was smiling again, but Beth watched him carefully. Danny was good at killing. Too good, he loved it too much. The question was not whether he could control himself. The question was whether he wanted to. Back on Earth, General Kane received a new report. This one was marked urgent and classified. He opened it and read carefully. His expression did not change, but his hands gripped the desk harder. The report was from an intelligence team. They had been studying swarm behavior. The findings were disturbing. Swarm forces are changing tactics. They are avoiding human positions when possible. Analysis suggests the swarm hive mind has identified human fighters as high-risk targets. Recommendation: deploy more human teams to maximize psychological effect on enemy forces. Kane read it again. The swarm was scared of the humans. Actually scared. A hive mind species that consumed everything without fear had learned to. 3 months had passed since the humans were released. The war was turning. The swarm was being pushed back on every front. Not defeated, but contained. Worlds were being saved. Lives were being protected, but the cost was visible in everyone's eyes. The aliens looked at the humans differently now. With fear, with gratitude, with confusion about which emotion was stronger. Then intelligence found something. A location, deep in dark space where no one had gone before. The source, the swarm's homeworld, the central nexus where the hive mind was born. General Kane called an emergency meeting. Lisa was there. Helen joined from the council station. On the screen, Jake's face appeared. He was tired. All the humans were tired, but they were still alive. All 50 of them. "We found it," Kane said without introduction. "The swarm homeworld. One massive planet covered completely in creatures. The central brain is there. If we destroy it, the entire swarm dies." "What is the plan?" Jake asked. "Full military assault. Every ship the coalition has. Every weapon. We hit it with everything. That will not work, Jake said simply. Kane frowned. Why not? Because the swarm knows we are coming. It has been preparing. You will lose everything in the first wave. Ships, soldiers, everything. The only way this works is if someone goes in first, quietly, destroys the defenses from inside. Then the fleet can attack. A suicide mission, Lisa said quietly. Yes, Jake agreed. Whoever goes in is not coming back. The room was silent. Then Kane spoke. I cannot order anyone to do this. It would be murder. You do not have to order us, Jake said. We volunteer, all of you. All of us, Helen spoke up. Jake, you do not have to do this. You have done enough. The pardons are approved. You could go free right now. All of you. You earned it. Jake smiled. It was a sad smile. Where would we go, Ambassador? Back to Earth? Back to being normal people. We are not normal. We never will be again. At least this way we go out fighting. We go out doing what we are good at. And maybe, just maybe, we save the galaxy in the process. The plan was made quickly. 1 ship, 50 humans. No support, no backup, no extraction plan. They would infiltrate the swarm homeworld, destroy the central nexus, and die doing it. The coalition would wait at the edge of dark space. When the defenses fell, they would attack, finish what the humans started. The night before the mission, the 50 humans gathered one last time. They were on a coalition ship, preparing for the final jump to dark space. Tomorrow they would die. Tonight they were still alive. Jake looked at the faces around him. Kyle, who loved close combat. Danny, who loved explosions. Greg, who never missed.
Amy, who saw beauty in biology.
Beth, Claire, and all the others. Monsters, every one of them, but also people. Broken people who had found purpose in the worst possible way. Thank you, Jake said. His voice was quiet, but everyone heard. For following me. For trusting me. For being here. Where else would we be? Nicole said. She was sitting next to him like always. This is where we belong. In the fight. In the war. At least we get to end it. Danny raised a bottle. To dying well, he shouted. The others raised their own bottles. To dying well. They drank. They talked. They remembered better times, or at least different times. Some cried. Some laughed. Some just sat quietly thinking about what came next. Amy was studying maps of the swarm homeworld. The central nexus is deep underground, she said. Protected by layers of creatures and biological defenses. We will have to fight through all of it. Of course we will, Jake said. Would you expect anything less? No, Amy admitted. I guess not. As the night went on, Jake and Nicole found themselves alone on the observation deck. They looked out at the stars. Beautiful, peaceful, nothing like what was coming. Are you scared? Nicole asked. Yes, Jake said honestly, but not of dying. I am scared that I wasted my life, that I became a monster for nothing, that I will die without ever knowing what it means to be human again. Nicole took his hand. It was the first time she had touched him like that. Gently, with care. You are still human, Jake, we all are. And we just forgot for a while. But I remember now. I remember what it feels like to care about someone. Jake looked at her. Really looked at her. He saw past the cold operative, past the killer. He saw a person who was just as lost as he was. Just as broken. Just as desperate to matter. I care about you too, Jake said. They stood together holding hands, watching the stars. Tomorrow they would die, but tonight they were alive. And that was enough. Morning came too fast. The 50 humans boarded their ship. It was small, fast, designed to avoid detection. Lisa was piloting. She had insisted on coming. Kane had tried to stop her, but she refused to listen. You are not a fighter, Kane had argued. You are a handler. An officer. I am responsible for them, Lisa had said. I let them out. I sent them to war. I am not letting them die alone. The ship jumped to dark space. The journey took hours. When they finally arrived, everyone was silent. The swarm homeworld filled the view screen. It was massive, 10 times the size of Earth, and it was moving. The entire surface writhed with creatures. That is a lot of targets, Danny said. He sounded excited. That is certain death, Beth corrected. Same thing. The ship descended quietly. Lisa was good. She avoided detection, slipping through gaps in the swarm's defenses. They landed on the dark side of the planet, hidden in a valley. The humans filed out. They checked weapons one last time. made sure their armor was sealed, said nothing because there was nothing left to say. Jake led them toward the nearest entrance to the underground. It was a massive tunnel, big enough to fit a building. Swarm creatures moved in and out, thousands of them. "Greg," Jake said. Greg nodded. He set up his rifle and started shooting. Creatures fell, more came. He kept shooting, the others charged. 50 humans against an entire planet. Madness, suicide. But they did it anyway. The fighting was worse than anything before. The swarm knew they were coming. It threw everything at them. Creatures piled on top of each other. Acid sprayed. Claws tore. Teeth bit. The humans kept moving forward. Kyle died first. A swarm creature bigger than the others crushed him. He was laughing when it happened. Still fighting even as he died, Beth died next, protecting Claire. She took an acid spray that should have hit her friend. She died instantly. The survivors kept moving. Down. Always down. Following Amy's maps. Following the path to the central nexus. More died. 10, then 15, then 20. The group got smaller. The tunnel got darker. The swarm got thicker. Danny used the last of his explosives. He was not laughing anymore. He was crying and laughing at the same time. "This is beautiful," he shouted. Then a creature took him. He was gone. 30 humans left. Then 25. Then 20. Jake was bleeding from dozens of wounds. Nicole was limping. Greg had lost an eye but kept shooting. Amy was using herself as a shield for the medical supplies she carried. They reached a massive chamber. The central nexus was there. It was huge, a pulsing mass of organic material connected to thousands of tendrils that spread through the planet. This was the brain, the mind, the source of the swarm. "Set the charges," Jake ordered. The remaining humans placed explosives around the nexus. They worked quickly. The swarm was pouring into the chamber. Time was running out. Claire died setting her charge. Greg died protecting her position. More fell. The group was down to 10. Then 8. Then 6, Jake, Nicole, Amy, Lisa, and 2 others. That was all that remained. "Charges are set," Amy said. "We have 2 minutes. Then we fight for 2 minutes," Jake said. They formed a circle around the charges. Back to back. They fired until their weapons were empty. Then they used knives. Then they used their hands. The swarm poured in like a black ocean. One more died. Then another. Now it was just Jake, Nicole, Amy, and Lisa. "I am glad I came," Lisa said. She was shooting with one hand, the other arm broken. "I am glad I got to see you fight for something real." "We have always fought for something real," Jake said. "We just did not know what it was until now." The timer hit 30 seconds. The swarm sensed what was happening. The creatures pulled back, trying to escape. But they were too late. Jake grabbed Nicole's hand. She grabbed Amy's hand. Amy grabbed Lisa's hand. They stood together. 4 humans at the center of the swarm homeworld. 4 monsters who remembered how to be people. "Thank you for reminding me what it means to be human," Jake said. The timer hit 0. The explosion was massive. It destroyed the central nexus instantly. The tendrils connecting it to the rest of the planet died. And across the galaxy, every swarm creature stopped moving. The hive mind was dead. In orbit, the coalition fleet watched the planet die. The swarm collapsed. Mountains of dead creatures. Oceans of black blood. The nightmare was over. But 50 humans were gone. 50 monsters who had saved the galaxy. 50 people who had found redemption in death. General Kane received the report in silence. He read it 3 times. All dead, every single one. They had completed the mission and paid the price. Helen Brooks stood before the Galactic Council 1 week later. The chamber was full. Every species was present. They had won the war, but the cost was visible in their eyes. "The human fighters are dead," Helen said. "All of them. They gave their lives to destroy the swarm. They saved your worlds, your people, your future." The council was silent. "I know you feared them," Helen continued. "I know they scared you. They scared us too. That is why we locked them up. But when you needed help..." The stars looked different from the Galactic Council chamber. Helen Brooks stood at the massive window, watching ships from 100 worlds drift past the orbital station. She had been Earth's ambassador for 5 years, but she had never been summoned like this. The message was marked urgent. The council never used that word. Behind her, the chamber doors opened with a heavy sound. Helen turned to see the council members entering. They were not walking with their usual pride. They looked tired. Some looked scared. Zareth, the council leader, was a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms. He had always stood straight, but today his shoulders were bent. He moved to the center platform and looked at Helen with eyes that showed too much white. "Ambassador Brooks," he said. His voice was quiet. "Thank you for coming quickly." Helen walked to her station. Around her, other council members took their places. She counted them. 47 species were represented here. 47 different worlds, all part of the Galactic Coalition. But today only 32 members were present. 15 seats were empty. "Where are the others?" Helen asked. Zareth's face showed pain. "Dead, their worlds are gone." The words hit Helen like cold water. "Gone? What do you mean gone?" A council member named Vriss stood up. She was small, with green fur and large black eyes. "The Void Swarm," she said. "They came from dark space 3 cycles ago. We thought we could stop them. We were wrong." Helen had heard reports about the swarm. Strange creatures that moved as one mind. They consumed everything. Planets, ships, entire star systems. But the report said the Coalition military was handling it. "Your fleets," Helen started to say. "Destroyed," Zareth interrupted. "All of them. We sent our best warriors, they died. We sent our smartest generals. They failed. The swarm does not stop. It does not negotiate. It only consumes." Vriss pulled up a hologram. Helen watched images of battle. She saw alien soldiers fighting bravely. She saw ships firing weapons that could destroy moons. None of it mattered. The swarm kept coming. Wave after wave of black creatures that looked like insects mixed with nightmares. They covered everything like a flood of darkness. "We have studied your species," Zareth said. He was looking directly at Helen now. "Humans are young. Your technology is behind ours. Your ships are slower. Your weapons are weaker. But there is something about humans that interests us." "What is that?" Helen asked, though she felt she already knew the answer. "You fight differently than we do," Vriss said. "We have watched your history, your wars. The way you destroy each other. The way you never stop even when you should. The way you create weapons designed only to kill. It frightens us." Helen felt her face get hot. "You want to insult us, then ask for help?" "No," Zareth said quickly. "We do not insult. We observe. Every species in this council follows the codes of war. We have rules. We have honor. We fight to win, but we fight fairly. Humans do not. You fight to survive. You fight like cornered animals. You scare us, Ambassador Brooks, and right now we need something scary." Helen looked at the hologram again. She watched the swarm destroy a city, millions dead in minutes. She understood what they were really asking. "You want soldiers?" she said. "Yes. You want human soldiers to fight the swarm because you think we are violent." "Enough to match them," Zareth nodded slowly. "We need warriors who do not follow our codes. We need fighters who will do whatever it takes to win. We need humans." Helen was quiet for a long moment. She thought about Earth. She thought about humanity's long, bloody history, wars that lasted years, weapons that could end all life, the things humans did to each other when they were desperate. The council was right to be scared. Humans were good at killing, too good. "I will send your request to Earth Command," Helen said, "but I need you to understand something. If we send soldiers, they will not fight like you expect. They will not be clean. They will not be honorable. They will do terrible things to win." "We know," Vriss said quietly. "That is what we need." Helen left the council chamber and went straight to her communications room. She opened a secure channel to Earth. The face that appeared on the screen belonged to General Victor Kane. He was an old man with gray hair and scars on his face. He had fought in the border wars 20 years ago. He knew what war really meant. "Ambassador," Kane said, "I heard about the council meeting." "They want our help?" "They want our soldiers," Helen said. "The swarm is destroying them. They have lost 15 worlds. Their military is broken. They are desperate, Victor." Kane leaned back in his chair. He was quiet for a moment, thinking. Helen could see something moving behind his eyes. "A decision forming. They want soldiers," Kane said slowly. "But we both know Earth's regular military would not be enough. If the swarm destroyed coalition fleets, our ships would not do better. They need something else." Helen felt a cold feeling in her stomach. "What are you thinking?" Kane looked directly at her through the screen. "I am thinking about Tartarus Base." "No," Helen said immediately. "Absolutely not. Those people are locked up for a reason. Those people are the best fighters humanity has ever produced," Kane said. They are also the most dangerous. They break the rules. They do not stop when they should. They scare us, Helen. They scare other humans. And the council just asked for fighters who scare people. Helen wanted to argue, but she could not find the words. Kane was right. Tartarus Base was where Earth kept its worst. Not criminals who stole or lied. Warriors who went too far. Soldiers who loved fighting too much. Operatives who did things that kept regular people awake at night. If we send them, Helen said carefully, we cannot control what they do. You know that. They are not normal soldiers. I know, Kane said. But the council is asking for something not normal. They want humans who fight like monsters, so we give them our monsters. Helen closed her eyes. She thought about the empty seats in the council chamber. 15 worlds gone. Billions dead. How many more would die if they did nothing? Do it, she said finally. But this is on you, Victor. This decision is yours, Kane nodded. I accept that responsibility. I will activate the program. The screen went dark. Helen sat alone in her communication room. She looked out the window at the stars again. Somewhere out there, the swarm was moving, consuming, destroying. And humanity was about to send something just as frightening to stop it. On Earth, General Kane was already making calls. Orders went out across secure channels. A ship was prepared on the dark side of the moon. And at Tartarus Base, lights that had been dark for years began to turn on. Captain Lisa Morgan received her orders while she was sleeping. She read them twice to make sure she understood correctly. Then she got dressed, got on a transport, and flew to the moon. When she arrived at Tartarus Base, the main gate was open for the first time in 3 years. The base commander met her at the entrance. His name was Hayes, and he looked relieved to see her. Thank God you are here, Hayes said. I got orders from Kane himself. He wants 50 prisoners released. The worst ones. Not released, Lisa corrected. Recruited. There is a difference. Hayes laughed, but it was not a happy sound. You think any of them will agree? They hate us. They hate Earth Command. They hate everything. Lisa walked past him into the base. Then I will give them something they hate more than us. I will give them a chance to fight again. The hallway was long and dark. Lisa's footsteps echoed on the metal floor. She passed cell after cell. Behind each door was a person too dangerous to be anywhere else. Not because they were evil, because they were too good at war, because they could not stop fighting, because they had become the thing that scared other soldiers. Lisa stopped at the first cell. The name on the door read Jake Rivers. She opened the viewing screen and looked inside. Jake was sitting on his bed. He was a big man with dark hair and old scars covering his arms. He looked up when the screen opened. His eyes were calm. Too calm. Are you here to kill me? Jake asked. No, Lisa said. I am here to offer you a job. Jake smiled, but it did not reach his eyes. There is only one job people like me are good for. Fighting, Lisa said. Killing, Jake corrected. Do not pretend it is anything else. Lisa pulled up his file on her tablet. She read it out loud. Special Forces. 15 years of service. Sent on a hostage rescue mission. Rescued all hostages. Killed 47 enemy combatants. Did not stop when command ordered retreat. Kept fighting for 6 more hours. When extraction team arrived, you were the only one still alive. Enemy or ally? Jake was quiet. They locked you up because you could not stop, Lisa said. Because you went into a rage and became something not quite human anymore. Command was scared of you. They should be, Jake said quietly. Lisa closed his file. The galaxy is being destroyed by something called the Void Swarm. Alien civilizations are dying. They asked Earth for help. They asked for soldiers. General Kane is sending you instead. Jake stood up slowly. He walked to the door. Why would I help them? Why would I help anyone? Because you miss it, Lisa said. You miss the fight. You miss feeling alive. I can see it in your eyes, Rivers. You are dying in here slowly, but if you go, you can die fighting. Is that not better? Jake pressed his hand against the door. What is in it for you? Why do you care? I do not, Lisa said honestly. I care about stopping the swarm. If that means letting monsters out of their cages, then that is what I will do.